my name is James Christian. I'm the 7-time DCA tenor drum champion, and I'm the author of The Art of Multi-Tenor Drumming. With this video, I'm starting a new series. I have about 7 videos planned, and this is intended to be a fast track to beginner tenor drumming. I've had a lot of students in the past say they wish there was something that helped them get started as far as a video series, so I'm going to create it. After this, I'm planning a much longer series, which I'm planning over 100 videos in that series, which will go into much more detail on all sorts of things. It'll start at a much more basic level and it'll go to a very advanced level. But this series is intended just to get you started playing on day one, and it'll get you going pretty much from the start. Most people, when they first start playing tenor drums, they enter it in 2 different ways. One is in junior high when they're playing junior high pep rally music, or if they haven't played them up to that point, when they get up to high school, if they want to be in the tenor section of the drum line, they may start then. So this video series will get you going and get you started with the fundamentals that should help make you successful. Before we begin, I want to cover just a couple of things. As I said, this is a fast track series, so I'm not going to cover a lot of fundamentals of general music or even percussion. I'm going to just focus on tenor drumming. So I'm not going to cover how to read music, and I'm not going to cover basic snare drum technique. I'm going to assume that you have been taught by someone or have taught yourself general up and down motion, which on tenor drums, the drums go, you have to play from side to side and you have to play up and down. So the side to side motion is called the x-axis and the up and down motion is called the y-axis. I'm not going to focus much on the y-axis movement. I would say when you're practicing, you should spend about 50% of your time playing on a snare drum or single drum and about 50% of your time playing on the tenor drums. You don't want to get so focused on the x-axis that your y-axis technique gets sloppy. So do focus on that. And if you have a good solid snare drum technique, then it will sound good moved around the drums. If you have a bad snare drum technique, it will sound sloppy on one drum, and it will sound even sloppier moving it around multiple drums. So keep your snare drum technique going while you're working on these. The next thing I want to focus on is the way we get sound on tenor drums. There's an optimal playing area called the playing zone. And if you hit too close to the center of the drum, you get a really dead sound. And if you hit too close to the rim, you get this real high pingy sound. So the optimal playing zone is about 2 inches away from the rim. So you get a much better sound there. So that's your optimal playing zone. So as you're moving around the drums, really focus on hitting there. When you're up close in the top 2 drums here, the playing zones, you're going to want to move right to the center up here. And when you're moving down the drums, you're going to want to move closer to those drums. So it's okay to hit anywhere on the drum. It just needs to be within that distance from the rim. The next thing I'd like to talk about is a general principle called breaking from the elbow, not from the wrist. This talks about the x-axis motion. When you're turning, a lot of really sloppy beginning tenor drummers, and sadly some who've been playing for a bit longer, they tend to do this, where they break the motion, their general playing position, they break it from the wrist, and they'll go something real sloppy like this. Looks really sloppy. It also messes up your anatomy because you don't have the same control over the stick when you break it right here. So you want to keep your arm as one unit moving up and down. And so you're going to break this position from the elbow and you'll come down and play that way. So you maintain the same technique you'd play using snare drum. You're just moving the arm at a different position. So this is how a better technique would look. So those 2 things really focus on as you're playing. Focus on the playing zones, hitting the drums in the right spot, and focus on breaking from the elbow, not from the wrist. Now when you play something on one drum, it's just a single drum. When you move it around the tenor drums, that's called an around pattern. So this video right here is only going to focus on general movement. It's going to focus on around patterns. And it's going to be straight eighth notes, so no complicated rhythms. We're just going to focus on hitting different drums and getting you used to moving in different ways. The exercises for this video come from what I originally wrote for my tenor drum book, and I actually took it out. It's the one page that did not get published. You could call it the missing page. Actually, this page got expanded into about 50 pages. I started with it as just some basic movement exercises, and then I went right into rudiment exercises, and I showed it to my former teacher, Rick Beckham, and he saw it, and he thought I could do something much more with it, and he actually ended up, he got inspired from that and wrote about 50 pages worth of exercises. So so if you want some more movement exercises, there's a huge library worth of them in the book. But this video, I'm just going to focus on one page worth of stuff, and I'm not even going to do every single exercise. I'm just going to do the first 3 lines or so, and then I'll have this page as a download, and I'll put the link below, and you can download it and practice and get some more movement exercises down. Alright, so without any further ado, let's go ahead and start playing. This first exercise is going to be just straight down the drums on eighth notes. You'll notice I'm going to look at the drums first, and I recommend doing this. Look at it, make sure you're hitting in the right playing zones, and using the proper breaking technique from the oboe. And then, as you feel more comfortable with it, look up and try to still maintain those same playing zones. If you can hear you're not hitting in the same spot, glance down, fix yourself, and then look up. Because probably when you're marching or needing to look at a conductor or a drum major, you will need to be able to play without looking at the drums 100% of the time. So occasionally you need to, but try to do it to where you can get it really quick and then look up. So here you go. First exercise is straight down the drums. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now a little bit faster. I want to point out on this that the freehand, when you're not playing, some people have a different strategy or a different philosophy where you should always keep the freehand over drums 1 and 2 when you're not playing, something like this. And that's totally fine if that's what your instructor's telling you to do and they're really adamant about it, then go ahead and learn it that way. For now, I would just say focus on proper playing zones and proper breaking from the elbow. That should be enough to get you started. And just get the other hand out of the way. And then as you become better and are more comfortable with the proper playing zones and all that, then you can start thinking about what you're doing with the freehand. So my suggestion is just get rid of the freehand, get it out of the way, and focus on proper playing for now. And then go with whatever your philosophy is on the freehand later down, and start incorporating that into what you're already doing. So here we go. The second exercise is going to do the same idea, except we're going to go up the drums. We're going to go 4, 3, 2, 1. A little bit faster. As you'll notice, I barely hit the rim there, and I adjusted, so I wasn't looking at the drums. If I could tell I slightly got off on the angle, I adjusted. So as you're doing this, practice it over and over again until you get just perfect reps and adjust where you can fix it on the fly. Alright, this next exercise is going to do the same. It's going to combine the 2 movements we've had before. So the right hand is going to go down the drums, and the left hand is going to come up. So we're going to combine them. side-to-side motion. So the right hand is going to start on drum 4 and move across, and then the left hand is going to do the same thing. So here you go. A little bit faster. Alright, now you could also practice the same exact motion starting on drum 3 and going across that way. We're going to skip that. If you want to pause the video here and practice that on your own, you can. But now we're going to combine the two motions. So your right hand is going to go across starting on drum 4, moving that way. And the left hand is going to start on drum 3 and move across going that way. So here we go. And a little bit faster. Alright, this next exercise is going to go in a circular motion. So you're going to go, starting with the right hand, you're going to go drum 4, drum 3, drum 1, drum 4. So it'll look like this. And then you're going to do the same thing with the left hand, and it's going to go drum 3, drum 4, drum 2, drum 3, like this. So you're going to do both back to back. So here you go on this one. And a little bit faster. Alright, now we're coming to the third line, and we're going to use the Spock drum. So far we've only used the main 4 drums and a quad tom setup. Now we're adding a 5th drum. If you do not have 5 drums, if you have 6 drums, then I would recommend doing these exercises twice, once with Spock 1 and once with Spock 2. So you basically get double the exercises here. If you don't have a Spock drum at all, if you only have quads, then most stands have some kind of connecting element that you can play on, or if you're carrying a harness there, you can probably hit something here. If you have a unique setup where there's nothing there that you can really hit, then just hit drum 1 twice, and you'll get the general gist of the motion. So here you go. This first one is going to go down the drums like we did at the beginning, except now we're going to start on the top drum, and the Spock drum, and then come back up. So here you go. And a little bit faster. Alright, 2 more exercises on this line. We're going to do something that I call anchored patterns. So we're going to have our Spock drum as our anchored drum, and then we're going to move the hand away from the other drums. I tend to think of it as kind of like playing on a drum set, how you have the snare drum in front of you, and you can reach out and hit cymbals and toms. This is the same kind of idea here. So this first one, you're going to put, it's going to be straight eighth notes again. The downbeats are going to be on the outer drums, and all the upbeats are going to be on the Spock drum. So here you go. Here's the first exercise slowly. Same thing, a little bit faster. Final exercise on this line is the same idea, except now you're going to start on the Spock drum and move out on the upbeats. Same thing, a little bit faster. Do be careful not to accent any of the drums. If the accents aren't written, try to keep it really smooth and consistent in the volume. Alright, like I said, you can download the exercise page that has more exercises like this, and if you want a lot of exercises, you can get my book, The Art of Multi-Tenor Drumming. I'm going to finish off the last two exercises on this page just to show what all you can do. This is going to combine side-to-side motions and Spock drums and all of that, so here's kind of where this general motion patterns lead to. So here you go. Here's the final two exercises. A little bit faster. Now the final exercise is the same idea as the previous exercise, except we're going to go in the opposite direction, starting on drum 3. Here you go, slowly. And a little bit faster. And that will do it for the first video in this series. In the next series, we're going to start applying different rudiments with all these different around patterns. So join us for the next video. Again, you can download the exercise packet at the link below. And if you like this video, please like it and comment on it and share it and spread the word and let other people find out about it. Thank you very much. Have a good day.